Tanse Kiawau, Kim Gullion Stewart, Nitsika Son, and I am from the Métis Nation.
My name is Blair Thompson. I'm a graphic designer and creative director.
Ublakut, Gail Uiraki Kablunak Nuyunga. I am an artist and I'm Inuit.
My name is Jackie Travers. I'm a Anishinaabe from Lake St. Martin. I grew up in the city of Winnipeg. I'm a painter, mainly do Indigenous artwork. The image is called Seeds of Change. What inspired the artwork is, the discovery of the children. The center is the national flower, the bunchberry, and on each side is the generations of people we lost to residential schools. But it can also be looked at as future generations blossoming, growing. Well, when I painted the stamp, I had quite a bit of emotions because, they had already discovered the children at Kamloops, and that really affected me. Being a mother and a grandmother, I thought of my own children. Also, I grew up in care, so I thought, that could have easily happened to me as a child. I know the feeling of feeling helpless and hopeless when you're on your own as a child, when there's nobody there to help you or protect you and all you have is yourself. So I think about those children, what they felt, and knowing that there was no way out of that situation, that they were helpless and they were hopeless. And I think about how hard that must have been for them, and no child should ever have to feel that way. Truth and reconciliation should be important for all Canadians because you're living in Canada and you need to know the truth about the country and the land you walk on. For us all to get along, we need to know our past so that we don't repeat those things and we can look at the future with new focus and new eyes. I think the stamps are important because it's a step forward. It means inclusion. It means that any step forward to talk about truth and reconciliation, in my opinion, is good.
I chose to do a lino cut block print for my quadrant of the stamp. I did an Inuit woman in a traditional dress of a Namauti, and she's lighting a traditional lamp that was used for warmth and light in igloos and tents. It's called a kudlik, and she's looks at peace. And I chose to do this artwork because I think that there are two sides of truth and reconciliation. I think that there's the Indigenous side that we need to concentrate on our own healing and helping each other recover from the impacts of residential schools and colonization. And I think that there's the settler side of truth and reconciliation, which involves a lot of learning and coming to terms with how this country came to be. And I wanted to do an artwork that kind of blocked out the external influence of settler Canadians and the settler state and focused on the strength and continuity of Inuit culture. I have a very deep and personal relationship with people who have been to residential school. Everyone older than me in my family went to residential school, and I'm the first generation to not go to residential school. Generally in my artwork, I choose not to focus on the trauma. I think that that's a personal choice and a boundary that I had to make for myself. I like being an Inuit person, and I like the parts of my life and myself and my family that are Inuit. I think in order for reconciliation to begin, I would like to have a conversation with people who are not Indigenous and have them be able to talk about it, to have some idea of what my culture or my life has been like, the inequality involved in being an Indigenous person in the country. So I think the stamps are an important step in getting the recognition of what Truth and Reconciliation Day is about and bringing more awareness to the Indigenous people and Indigenous culture, Indigenous land.
The map that I used is a map of Tuatna from 1914, and it covers the area of Athabasca where I was born and my father and his father, etc. It's an area where I feel connected to the land. The map itself has a lot of economic development plans that might have been in the works. And so what I did was I placed my beadwork over top as a way to talk about connection, Indigenous connection to the land, the fact that Indigenous people were here, and how we feel connected to the land from a stewardship point of view rather than an economic point of view. And so when I'm creating my work, I'm very aware of the fact that artwork is a way in. It's often a way in for people to open up conversation, to talk about things that are difficult, but to also talk about things that are joyful, and also to talk about things that could be solutions for the future. When I think about what inspires my work, I think about the quote by Louis Riel that says, "My people will sleep for 100 years, but when they awake, it is the artists that will give them their spirit back." And I take that to heart. The reason Truth and Reconciliation is so important to me personally is because of the path that my ancestors have taken along the way. And I've been ever so painfully aware of the pain that they have suffered as Indigenous people. And so I take this path for them. So I really feel that reconciliation starts with myself. It starts within myself. It's a journey that I personally need to take. Then from there, it goes out to the community, and from the community to the country. So Truth and Reconciliation is important to all people because it allows us to become community again. Instead of an us and them, instead of a me, we become a we. For those of young people, my hope is that you can lead the way and show us a better future. You can show us how to get along. The pain of the past stops here. It stops with us. And with you, young people, we can move forward in a really good way.
So the artwork in my quadrant is a symbolic interpretation of two perspectives. The sadness and the pain endured by Indigenous people and survivors of the residential school system, and the shame and the acknowledgement of this harsh reality by the settler. The eyes looking out from behind the hands convey the message that settlers must never ever look away again, and we mustn't repeat past mistakes. The settler perspective was important for me to communicate because I really wanted to convey some of the hard truths that we need to face, and represent, the trauma that was endured and we need to take responsibility for. I use simplicity and visual clarity in my work. I really wanted to try to evoke an emotional response in the stamp design, and I definitely want it to be thought-provoking for all those that look at it. I've learned through this project that truth and reconciliation means different things to different people. It's important that we communicate these views so that we can all gain a deeper understanding of the meaning of reconciliation from others. By combining the 4 quadrants into a fuller circle, we're collectively coming together as one, whilst retaining our own diverse and unique perspectives. Canadians must do more than talk about reconciliation. We must challenge ourselves to deepen our collective awareness of our dark and painful history. We must learn harsh lessons from it and take the time to reflect so that we begin to walk the path of healing and reconciliation together, moving forward but never forgetting the past. Canadians need to learn these truths as well, not just what happened in the residential schools, but what the impact it had in people's lives, Even something as omnipresent as a postage stamp could be the start of a journey forward, which could make changes that are needed.
So the survivors of residential school went through a terrible experience sometimes, and it's because of them that we are able to continue our own traditions and culture and language.
I have the deepest amount of respect for survivors. They serve as a remembrance to the painful past, but also hope for the future as a resilient people.
I have to thank all the survivors for their courage and strength and determination to tell the truth, and really all the credit goes to them, because we wouldn't be having this conversation without their stories, without their truth. So miigwech.